I just came out. It is getting close to 9 o'clock, I believe, and I came out to let my bucks out. I let them graze out into this pasture at night, and then I lock up the girls, and they get the daytime where they get to eat out in the pasture. But I walked by my beehive, and I saw this, and I wanted to share it with you because it's pretty cool. At first, when I saw this several years ago, I was alarmed. I called my bee guy, and I said, "What is going on? Are my bees swarming? Should I be worried? What do I do?" And he said, "No, it sounds like they're bearding." Bees will beard and do this in the summer months when it is really hot. And today, it was hot for us. I think it was like 84 degrees. And so it is a hotter day than what we've been used to. And so bearding is when the bees, they're in the peak of the summer. That queen has been laying and getting those worker bees going. And so that is what they need in this peak season when the nectar flow is happening and there's the pollen and all that. They need as many workers as possible to get as much nectar as they can. And so there is a big, huge influx in the amount of bees in the hive. And because of that, when it gets hot, because there's so many more, the hive gets really hot, and the brood needs for there to be a consistent temperature that's not too hot and not too cold. And so they don't want to overheat the hive, and so they come out, and you might see some of them fanning and trying to cool down the hive as well. So they hang out like this so that the hive doesn't get too hot. Isn't that amazing? Bees are incredible, and it is amazing what they do to keep their colony going. So I'm going to do just a zoom up. I'm going to zoom in and show you a bit closer of what there is to see. And it is getting darker. That sun is setting. It's a beautiful sunset tonight. Oh man. So that is exciting to see though, because I did check this hive a couple days ago. I wanted to make sure that they were up into that first super that I had put up there. So that's where the honey is going. And so they are up there. And there were quite a few bees up there. There's a few kept cells of honey, but you can see just the glistening honey in the super frames. And but hopefully it'll be, now seeing this is just exciting because it shows that there's lots of bees, and hopefully they'll wake up in the morning and get to work so we can have our honey at the end of this year. They say that there are several things that you can do if you live in a very hot climate or in the heat of the summer. Like when you get into those months, those days that are just incredibly hot, you do want to help your bees out as much as possible. So if you do have a place where you can plant trees or put them under trees so that they are getting shade in the heat of the afternoon, that is optimal. You can also, if you don't have that option, like right now, we plan to plant trees here. Uh-oh. I need to go take something out of the oven. We don't have trees planted here, but we plan to. We just don't yet. And so you can also put up like a board. You can put up like a maybe plywood piece of board that's leaning against it so that in the afternoon sun it's blocking it as best as possible. You can put it on maybe the side of the building where the building would actually block the sun. So just think about it as you're looking for places to place your hives. Put them in a place that will be shaded from the sun in the heat of the afternoon. And make sure that they have enough ventilation in the hive. That'll help them a lot. You can just hear them buzzing. I'm not sure if my theory has worked or not. I have guineas for the first time while I've had bees. And I read somewhere that guineas are notorious for standing outside a beehive and just eating the bees as they come out of the hive. And I wasn't going to have that happen. And so I did leave the grass in front of the hive. A lot of times I've cut that down, but I was thinking, and just as a kind of a block too, where the opening is for other invaders, like, wasps and stuff, just so that it's not just this open invitation. Hey, here's the opening to this hive. So whether that was right or wrong, I don't know, but I just didn't want my guineas standing outside eating my bees. At times you may see, the difference between a swarm and bearding. You may see that there is something like a clump of bees outside your hive, but it is more balled up. It's more of a ball of bees on the outside like this, but you can see that these girls are all flat on the outside of the hive, and a swarm would look more like a ball of bees. I came out this morning to check on my hive, and as you can see behind me, they are still bearding just a little bit. It's a lot less than last night. I assume that, they have, the worker bees have gone off and are collecting nectar right now, and so there's a lot less on the hive. But I also wanted to talk through a few more things about bearding. Just know that bearding is normal. And so when you come out and see that, don't be alarmed. Just think, hey, my hive is strong. That's a good sign. So why is it called bearding? It seems kind of odd to be called that. But when you think about it, it's not that far-fetched. Bearding, it looks like a beard. When the bees all come out of the hive, they're lining the outside of the hive, and it can kind of look like a man's beard. So that is why it's called bearding. So it's actually a good sign. Bearding is a sign that your hive is strong and healthy. So when you come out and see this happening to your hive, don't be alarmed. Think, hey, my hive is strong and it's healthy. This is a good sign. But you will also want to think, because it is healthy and strong, you want to give your bees room to prevent swarming. You don't necessarily want your hives to be swarming and leaving. And so you want to make sure that you're giving your hive enough room, which means you need to be adding supers on so as they grow, they have room, because when they feel crunched, they will swarm. And so during that swarming season, you need to be watching for those signs of swarming, and be sure when you see that your hive is strong like this, that you are giving them adequate room by adding enough room onto the hive by adding supers. Also, you don't want to do anything to the bees when this is happening. Some people have been known to scoop them up and dump them back into the hive, or spray them with water, or knock them around. Don't do that. Leave them alone. If you put them back into the hive, you're actually going against what they're needing. That would add back all the bodies that are making it hot inside the hive. So you really don't want to mess with it at all. They know what they're doing. They need their honey at the proper temperature and their brood at the proper temperature. So if you mess with what they're doing and what they know what to do, it can affect all of that inside the hive. So just leave it alone when you see this happen. Just another important fact to know is the difference between the bearding and the swarming. So when you see them bearding, they will be calm. They will be cool, calm, and collected. They won't be agitated in any way. They will probably also be fanning their wings. That's how they help regulate the temperature and get that airflow moving throughout the hive. And so you might also see that as well. But they will be calm and not agitated in any way. You will also see that in their calm collectedness that they're in unison. They're around the opening of the hive, and there's not a lot of just frantic rushing. They are in unison together, and there's nothing alarming about what they're doing. But when you see a swarm, that is when you will see more agitation. You will see, bees coming and going quickly. You'll see that those are the worker bees that have gone out and are finding the location, coming back and telling, hey, this is what I found. And there's a lot of just commotion and agitation in that way. Bearding will happen also on a very hot day, and swarming will happen when it is a warm day but not a hot day. When bees are planning to swarm, they actually load themselves up with honey. So they're filled up. You might even see their abdomens just a little bit plumper than normal. So they're filled up with honey because they are taking that honey to their new location, because they're planning to start a new home and they need that to get started. So they will be a bit sluggish. They will be almost like not moving. They'll just not a lot of movement in that way because they have filled up with a lot of honey. But then there are the just a lot of agitation though in the midst of that, of the worker bees that are coming and going, trying to find the location, and there's just feels like a lot of unrest within the hive because of the uncertainty of the move and what's about to happen. So those are ways that you can distinguish between what is happening in your hive. And those are things that you want to look for as you are working your hive. So during that nectar flow, the honey flow, you want to be checking your hives to make sure that you are giving them enough room, that you're adding on supers at the appropriate time so that they have that room and aren't feeling squished inside the hive. Thank you so much for watching my bee adventures. I hope this was helpful information. If it was, I'd love to hear your comments. If you can like and share this video to help other bee owners everywhere, that is what we need. We need people to understand how bees work and how important they are. Bees are so important, and we need to learn more about them so that we can understand them to help them, because of how important they are to us personally and our world. So thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video.